with a review video for WWE Money in the Bank. I'm going to go through every matchup on the card from start to finish, give each match a rating out of a 5-star, and at the end of the video, I'll give the event as a whole a rating out of a 10. So without any further ado, let's get into the review video. To start the Money in the Bank pay-per-view off, it was the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Those of y'all tapping into this review video right now, if y'all watch the pay-per-view in its entirety, y'all already know all the cool spots that happened in the match. And if you're a wrestling fan, you already know how ladder matches go. Like, especially the Money in the Bank ladder matches where you have multiple competitors and it's a ladder match. It's bound to have highlight reel spots, so I'm not going to go through every cool spots that happened in every match. Y'all can go check out the highlight reels on YouTube for all that. I'm just here to tell y'all the results and give y'all my opinions on what happened in this event. And that's it. And yeah, this was a good opening contest. I give this match a 3.5 out of a 5. Liv Morgan ended up winning 2022's Money in the Bank ladder match, and this solidifies her position as one of the top women's wrestler in the WWE. You know, she's well received by the crowd. She's been putting in work for some years now, and she's, you know, at the top of her game now with her winning the Money in the Bank contract. And other than Becky Lynch, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss, who are former champions who's been holding it down for the women's division in the WWE for some time now, and arguably, I think she's already, you know, especially after tonight, she's, I think, arguably surpassed Alexa Bliss and Asuka when it comes to popularity. And, you know, Becky Lynch, you know, she's main event at WrestleMania and all that. So I don't know if she's at the level of a Becky. But as far as how they're being booked right now, Liv Morgan's definitely on the high streak. And there were, you know, other up-and-coming women's wrestlers in the match that haven't won a women's world title yet, like Raquel Rodriguez, who recently got the call up from NXT, and she's been booked right. And you have Lacey Evans, who's, you know, challenged for the women's title before, who's, you know, had this whole character change since, you know, coming back after WrestleMania. She's a prospect on the come up. Then you also had Shotzi, who hasn't really made an impact ever since she got the call up from, you know, NXT. But, you know, she had a little 1-2 spots in this matchup as well. But as far as all the women that were in this year's Money in the Bank ladder match that hasn't won the women's world title yet, and it is on the come up, there's no contest as far as on who is the most well received out of all the girls that hasn't won the women's title that were competing in this match, that are on the come up. Liv Morgan, I think, is by far the most well received out of all the girls that were competing in the match that hasn't won the world title. And like I said, after tonight, she definitely solidified her rankings as a top woman in the women's division when it comes to the WWE. I think I already gave a rating for this match, right? So let's move on to the next matchup on the card, the U.S. title match between the youngest U.S. champion of all time, Theory, versus Bobby Lashley. Ever since Theory won the U.S. title, I think he's revived the U.S. title scene. The U.S. title has been booked better than the Intercontinental title, that's for sure. The IC title hasn't been defended since WrestleMania 37. That was last year. And you have Gunther over there on Smackdown who won the Intercontinental title. I mean, I'm getting off subject, but, you know, if y'all tapped in with the WWE, y'all know they really, you know, kind of giving up on the mid-card scene. But with Theory, you know, winning the title, that kind of, brought some relevancy and prestige back into the U.S. title. And with him defending it versus somebody like a Bobby Lashley, who's a former world champion, who's got a decorated resume. And this is a man who's never lost the WWE title. He had to vacate it due to an injury. But WWE likes to, book things like as if they got amnesia. Bobby Lashley is not going for the WWE title that he never lost. But him going for the U.S. title just adds more value to the mid-card scene. So, that's a good thing. It definitely legitimizes, the U.S. title when you have guys like Theory and Lashley fighting for it. And the build-up to this match, it was good. It was good. They had a good, solid program heading into this matchup. And the matchup, I ain't really expect much from it. It was a mediocre match. I give this match a 3 out of a 5. And that's me being, I don't want to say nice or compromising, but that's it wasn't nothing too spectacular. It could have been any matchup on Raw or Smackdown. And Bobby Lashley won this match. He made a Theory tap out after putting him in the Hurt Lock, and Bobby Lashley wins the U.S. title. In my personal opinion, I think it was a little too early to take the title off a Theory. He only had one pay-per-view title defense, and he's been, putting in value to the U.S. title, and for him to drop the title this quick, only have one title defense on a pay-per-view. When I think, when he's responsible for kind of reviving the U.S. title, a lot of people had their hopes high when Finn Balor won the U.S. title off of Damian Priest before WrestleMania, but he was just another transitional champion. And for Theory to lose to Lashley this quick, I'm not saying Lashley winning the title off of him is bad at all. It's actually a good look for the U.S. title. With somebody like Bobby Lashley holding that title, it holds even more of a value and prestige when you have somebody like a Bobby Lashley holding the title. But it almost seems like, maybe because Theory had more TV time and more programs with him being U.S. champion, it doesn't seem as bad. But, for him to drop it, what he had like only a 2-3 month reign as the U.S. champion, almost seems like, it was like another Finn Balor title reign, because it's like, it was too quick on how Theory dropped the title, like the timing of it. But it's not bad at all. Like I said, Bobby Lashley being the U.S. champion, I want to see how this reign will be with Bobby Lashley as a U.S. champion. And I don't know when he's gonna go for the WWE title that he never lost. But with it being unified with the new undisputed WWE Universal title, like it's there's no more brand split. So it's kind of hard for every top guy to challenge for the world title when there's only one world title and there's no more brand split, right? So they gotta time slot things right for each of the main talent. But like I said, it's a good look that the U.S. title gets a spotlight like this. Anyways, though, moving on to the next match. For the Raw Women's title, Bianca Belair defending the Raw Women's title versus Carmella. Carmella was a replacement for Rhea Ripley. When she might be coming back and all that. But yeah, Carmella, she can work, and she's a good heel, and she's got a character that that suits her. And yeah, and she might not be the best in-ring competitor as far as her abilities go when it comes to wrestling, but her character and she's a former women's champion as well. So, she's been, putting in work for some time now. I know she's, I wouldn't say she's looked at as like, an amazing talent like a Bianca Belair or a Charlotte Flair and etc. WWE's got a deep talent pool when it comes to women's wrestling. So I know a lot of fans were disappointed because, with Rhea Ripley being a part of the Judgment Day and her recently turning heel, with her feuding with Bianca Belair, a lot of fans were looking forward to that feud, but I'm sure it's going to continue, and Carmella is there to fill in the spot while Rhea Ripley's making a comeback. But this match, I mean, what do you expect out of it? Like, Bianca Belair is going to have to, set the pace and really, carry this match. This match could have been any match really on Raw, like, for real, but you had this matchup, happen because Rhea Ripley couldn't make this match. So, we had a match that was like a Raw caliber match on the pay-per-view. And that's why I get this match a 2 out of 5. Bianca Belair won this match, successfully defended a Raw Women's title, as expected. Then I don't know if they're going to continue this feud, because after Bianca Belair won this match, Carmella attacked her from behind, and does that mean this feud is going to continue on the SummerSlam between Bianca Belair and Carmella? I don't want to see it, but maybe, because they gotta wait for Rhea Ripley to come back ready to compete. So I don't know if they're gonna continue this program between the two, but I personally don't want to see it. I think this was a good match to fill in for Money in the Bank, but for it to happen at a pay-per-view like SummerSlam, I don't know, man. I don't know, but we'll see though. Anyways, moving on to the next match, the undisputed unified WWE Tag Team Titles were on the line. The Usos defended versus the Street Profits. And yeah, when these two teams collide, you expect a good bar-burning match, and that's what the fans got. It was a highly competitive match between the two teams. Of course, Randy Orton's injured right now. But when you not count RK Bro, and Street Profits is almost like the Usos because they came on to the WWE as a team together. They weren't like, two singles competitors put in the team like RK Bro. Not saying RK Bro isn't, a legit tag team, because they're one of the most fun and most important part of the WWE and has been for a long time. But the Street Profits, former tag team champions as well liked by the crowd, and they're up there as being one of the best tag teams, not only in WWE but in pro wrestling period. And the Usos, they're up there as arguably, now you look at their decorated resume, I know a lot of old school wrestling fans, or quote unquote educated wrestling fans, they love to, hold on to nostalgia. Not blaming y'all, but, a lot of people like to, just brush off the current and younger talent when you compare them to the older talent. But the Usos are up there to be one of the greatest tag teams of all time. And, this reign, they've been tag team champions for about a year now, and they've unified both Raw and Smackdown tag team titles. This just adds on to their resume. And Street Profits and the Usos have, faced off before, and they pulled off good matches, and this one wasn't no different. It was good back and forth action, a lot of cool spots in the match. Arguably the best matchup on the card. I get this match 4 out of 5. The Usos successfully defended their unified, undisputed WWE Tag Team titles after hitting the double super kick on Montez Ford and hitting the D1. But there was some controversy at the end, because when the Usos hit their finisher and pinned Montez, it looked like clearly on the replay Montez had his shoulders up, but the referee had missed it. And there's not the NBA or the NFL. You can't challenge a play in the WWE. Well, sometimes you can in pro wrestling, depending on how they book it. But in this match, I guess they're gonna let this one slide. I don't know if they're gonna have another match between the Usos and the Street Profits for SummerSlam. I'd love to see it, because anytime these two teams get in the ring together, they pull off a great match, and that's what I want to see. And I don't know any other teams in the WWE that might be worth challenging the Usos for the tag team titles. Currently speaking, I don't see no other tag teams that could challenge the Usos at a pay-per-view like a SummerSlam other than the Street Profits. The WWE's tag team department really ain't up to par right now. So I think this is the right matchup to make for SummerSlam. Anyways, next matchup on the card, the SmackDown Women's Tag Team. I said SmackDown Women's Tag Team title. My bad. We off the tag team titles right now. Moving on now. The SmackDown Women's title was on the line. Ronda Rousey defending it versus Natalya. Now, they built up this matchup pretty well. You know, a lot of people, not that it matters. I don't really got an opinion on it, but I've been hearing, y'all already know how the internet works and the bullcrap that comes with the internet and shit, and the fans stating their opinions. I've been seeing, you know, maybe I haven't been looking into the positive things that has been written about, you know, Ronda Rousey's reign as the SmackDown Women's Champion, but a lot of people feel like, you know, it hasn't been really, you know, as good as her first run, you know, ever since she came back. But, you know, I don't really got an opinion on it. I thought her matchup with Charlotte Flair at Backlash, I thought that I Quit match between them two, I thought that was a good match. And, you know, and I think, you know, SmackDown, WWE's creative department, you know, has been criticized for such a long time now. Like, WWE really, you know, I feel like they haven't really been putting in a lot of effort as far as a program goes. But, you know, I think, you know, for how the WWE is right now, I think they you know, put an effort in for what they can for this feud between Ronda Rousey and Natalya. You know, they try to make it, you know, intense and personal between the two. I don't know if a lot of fans were hype about it, but they tried though, so I give them the credit for that. And the matchup, you know, it worked out because, you know, they're two submission experts, so it worked out as far as, you know, them two, you know, styles clashing in the ring together. I thought it worked out, and I thought the matchup played out well because of their style. And I think both the wrestlers in the match, Natalya and Ronda Rousey, worked off that fact as well, and that's why I think this matchup was, you know, a good match. I'll give it a 3 out of 5, because of how they played off the style, and yeah, Ronda Rousey won the matchup. She put Natalya in the armbar, made her tap out. Good back and forth action between the two, like I said. But after the match, Liv Morgan will make history by cashing in her Money in the Bank on the same night that she won. Yeah, and it wasn't like Natalya attacked Ronda Rousey after the match or anything like that. She was up on her feet celebrating. The Liv Morgan music hit. She came out cashing the Money in the Bank contract. Ronda Rousey looked like she had Liv Morgan. Mind y'all, a Money in the Bank briefcase doesn't guarantee a successful cash in. I mean, you look at Baron Corbin, Damian Sandow. These guys have failed when they attempted to cash in their Money in the Bank contract before, right? So, and it looked like, you know, maybe Liv Morgan was heading down the same route when Ronda Rousey had caught her in the submission, but then Liv Morgan would counter it and get the roll up and get the 1-2-3 count. Now your new SmackDown Women's Champion is Liv Morgan. I guess WWE's putting their faith in her to carry the women's division as far as SmackDown goes. Now, there's no more brand split, right? So it's like all the superstars can go to either Raw or SmackDown or even NXT, right? And with that being said, like, I don't see no need for it being two women's titles. They already got the women's tag team titles out the way. Now, I think it's maybe time that they unify the women's titles, because it's like, you know, there's only two brand split titles when it comes to, you know, the women's division. You know, the tag team titles have been unified. the main titles have been unified, and the mid-card titles are going to be the mid-card titles. But when it comes to the women's division, you got 2 world titles, and it's literally named Raw Women's Title and Smackdown Women's Title, and there ain't really no need for it, right? And yeah, Liv Morgan, yes, this was a hell of a night for her. She wins the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then she cashes that in successfully, and now is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Now, the fans are behind her. Hopefully, they book her right creatively, and as far as, how they book her in matches, they got to do it correctly for it to work, and I'm sure it will. I don't want it to be like another Nikki Ash or, Rhea Ripley. She had a, I would say, a mad run with her women's world title. Hopefully it's not the same for Liv Morgan. Like I said, we'll see how, this will go as far as, her being a world champion. Yeah, but anyways, congrats to her. And then the main event on the card was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. You already know the competitors that were involved in this matchup. It was originally supposed to be only 7 men competing in this match, but then last minute Adam Pearce came out and said we got another competitor that will be involved in this match. And I don't get it. Like, I don't get the kayfabe that might be involved in it. It wasn't like, I mean, Vince McMahon's been making appearances ever since, the whole controversy. I don't want to talk about anything outside of, the subject in hand, and that is WWE, like, and it's, programming. That other shit is some personal shit, but, ever since that shit kicked off, Vince McMahon's been making appearances on live TV for weeks now, and, so it's like, it don't really make no sense, like, how Theory being the surprise a participant for this Money in the Bank ladder match. Of course, he's, Vinnie Mac's boy, his chosen protege. So it would have made sense if Mr. McMahon had to say so still, but he doesn't, because that was, but whatever though, right? So it would have only made sense if Vince would have told Pierce, like, yo, get Theory involved in this match. But no, Pierce came out and said, yo, we got Theory, that he's gonna be the 8th and final man that's gonna be in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Like, out of nowhere. For what? It wasn't announced that it was going to be 8 men in the Money in the Bank ladder match. It wasn't like a new signee, a new talent making a debut or a return to the WWE. It wasn't that. So it was like, for what? But, it all made sense at the end, because Theory ended up winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. And this match, like I said, y'all could go check out the highlights yourselves on YouTube. And if y'all tapping into this review video and y'all watch the pay-per-view in its entirety, y'all know the cool spots in the match. But hey, it's the main event. I'll give y'all some cool spots that stood out to me. Riddle did this whole freaking flip shit that he did off the top of the ladder onto all the superstars in the ring. That was cool. And the psychology with Omos, dominating, and all the other competitors having to team up to take out Omos, and them hitting the shield bomb on Omos through the table. That was a cool spot in the match. Riddle hitting the RKO on Seth Rollins on top of the ladder, onto the canvas. That was another cool spot. It almost looked like Riddle was gonna win the Money in the Bank ladder match. If I would have made a prediction video, I should have had, but it is what it is though. I would have picked Riddle as the favorite to win this match, right? And I definitely wouldn't have guessed that Theory, who was already booked to Money in the Bank to defend his U.S. title, I would have never guessed there was gonna be a surprise entrant to this Money in the Bank ladder match. And I definitely wouldn't have expected Theory to be the surprise entrant to the Money in the Bank ladder match. So I wouldn't have guessed who would have won this match. But if I would have originally predict on who would have won this match, I would have definitely picked Riddle. And I still think Riddle should have won the Money in the Bank ladder match, because I think, he's a former U.S. champ. He's been putting in work, even from the indie scene to NXT, all the way to the main roster. former U.S. champion, well received by the crowd, one of the most over talent in the WWE right now. And for him to win the Money in the Bank, not only would it have been a career-defining moment, but we all know as wrestling fans, unless you don't like Riddle for whatever reason, but yeah, Riddle, like I think we all know as wrestling fans, he's a future world champion. He's a world champion material. I don't think there's been a character in WWE like a Riddle. So he's a one of a kind, and he could talk, and he could go in the ring, and he's got a legit background. And with that being said, I think he makes for a future world champion for sure. In theory, he's one of the youngest talent in the WWE right now. One of the best heels in the WWE right now. And with him winning the Money in the Bank ladder match, I think they're really pushing that narrative as him being one of the hand-picked proteges of Vinnie Mac. And I think they're really pushing that narrative with Theory being a he's no longer a up and coming prospect, because when he won the U.S. title, that that was a good sign for him, because it's like, okay, he's a mid card champion, and for the majority of time when somebody is a mid-card champion, they're well on their way in the future to become a world champion, right? Most of the time. And with Theory, it's kind of a guarantee because of his age and because of his, of the way how he's been booked, and his, the way he's been booked, he's going en route to be a future world champion for sure. And with him winning the Money in the Bank now, that's a guarantee. Unless they do some doofus shit like, where he does a unsuccessful cash-in. Because Baron Corbin, when he won the Money in the Bank, I mean, he wasn't, a Theory character. He was like this lone wolf character before he picked up all that, Happy Corbin, King Corbin, GM Corbin character. He's had multiple character changes as far as, Corbin goes. But, you had that and Damian Sandow and Mr. Kennedy, who won the Money in the Bank ladder matches before, had unsuccessful cash-ins or had to drop the Money in the Bank contract. I don't think that's the case with Theory at all. Like I said, the way he's been booked, his age, his character, and how he's received by the crowd, I don't think WWE is gonna, have him do a unsuccessful cash-in. They're really investing into Theory. They definitely see something in him, and they gonna push Theory to the moon. They really believe in Theory, and Theory, he's been booked right, and he's been on top of his game for sure. And I don't think they're gonna have him do the doofus unsuccessful cash-ins. Baron Corbin and Damian Sandow, those two are the guys that come up in my mind when it comes to unsuccessful cash-ins. And those two guys were up and coming prospects that were on hot streaks as well. And they were pretty much rookies when they competed in the Money in the Bank ladder match. And they won the Money in the Bank ladder match but had an unsuccessful cash-in. And then after that, their career went downhill and their hot streak wasn't hot anymore. And then they had to make character developments. Like you look at Baron Corbin, he took on all types of characters after winning Money in the Bank. After that, he turned into GM Corbin and King Corbin and now Happy Corbin. Damian Sandow, after he unsuccessfully cashed in his Money in the Bank, he went the jobber route, then had to come up with character developments and character changes. Theory, on the other hand, is the opposite. He went through the right steps and is on the right steps. When he got the call up from NXT, at NXT he was working with Gargano and his wife. When he got the call up to the main roster, he was one of the disciples for Seth Rollins in his Messiah run. Then after that, he was handpicked by Vince McMahon to be his protege. Then he took on this self-centered, egotistical, Mr. Selfie gimmick. and then won the U.S. title, then brought some prestige and value and some attention to the U.S. title that it needed. And then he drops the U.S. title on the same night that he wins the Money in the Bank. Yeah, a hell of a night for Theory for sure. A career-defining moment for sure, and this solidifies his spot as one of the top talent that's currently active full-time in the WWE right now. And the WWE is showing that Theory is one of the best things that they got going right now, and I'm excited to see what Theory is going to do as Mr. Money in the Bank. And I don't know if he's going to go for the U.S. title. I don't know if he's going to try and gain it back, or if he's looking past that and he's not even focused on the U.S. title anymore, and he's focused on the bigger picture, and that's him trying to win the undisputed WWE Universal title. And the numbers are in his advantage, and he's, I think, a guaranteed future world champion for sure. And as far as the whole event goes, I'll give the Money in the Bank pay-per-view event a 6.5 out of a 10. WWE hasn't been putting on like as many matches for their pay-per-views. Like they'll have like certain programs that are only set for like their weekly shows, like Raw and Smackdown. Like you look at New Day and Viking Raiders, you look at Judgment Day and the Mysterios, and you got Gunther and Ricochet. Like these are feuds that's displayed on Raw and Smackdown but won't make the cut for the pay-per-views. And it's been like that. Like I don't know, I kind of sort of like started tapping back into wrestling period at WrestleMania season, and ever since WrestleMania I feel like they've really not displayed all of their talents and all of their feuds that they display on their shows. And I'd like to see more of their feuds have matchups on pay-per-views. What's y'all opinions on that? Maybe that's a whole nother subject that I could talk about on one of them Talk Wrestling episodes. And stay in tune. That's all I could say. And yeah, and also they, like, I don't know, Roman Reigns, I don't know if he's injured, or since they've unified the main titles, like they not gonna have the WWE Universe title being defended at every pay-per-view like they used to. Or if it's Roman Reigns, asking for more time off. Like apparently he's gonna be shooting a movie soon, and he's rumored to drop that title. He's almost held the U.S. title for 700 days now. But this is back-to-back pay-per-views. He hasn't been on the show defending his title. But yeah, that does it for this review video. Y'all let me know what y'all opinions is in the comments. If y'all got a video talking about Money in the Bank, reviewing it, I'll be more than glad to check it out. Yeah. Comment, subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. Y'all already know. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'm out of here. Peace.